I got caught creaming to a picture of a Thanksgiving turkey. Hey folks, I am Appu. Now we all know how much I love my Thanksgiving turkeys. Well, I was all alone one night when my ex-wife decided it would be a good idea to stop by to grab some of her things. I was in the living room with a bottle of lotion and my laptop just going to town. There is something about the oiled up and buttery senses that just rubs me the right way. I was minding my own business when my wife and her yoga instructor, Tyrone, decided to barge in and interrupt my peace. And they came in at the worst time. It was right as I was, I quickly cleaned up and asked what they needed. She said Tyrone left some of his underwear here and he needed to grab them. So they grabbed what they needed and left. I just can never catch a break these days, not even in my own house. This leads me to Appu's life lesson number 147. Always lock your doors, folks, because intruders will just barge in at any moment without even giving you time to clean up. Stay safe out there, folks, and always learn from Appu's mistakes. Got my weewee stuck inside a Pringles can. Hey folks, I'm Appu. Now I'm sure we all know about this good old-fashioned life hack. A Pringles can, a sponge, and a rubber glove. Once you combine these three things, you are in for an amazing night. Since my wife left me, I had the place all to myself. So I fired up the laptop and turned it up to max volume. Once I got my contraption all sorted out, I just started having a good time. I lost sense of time, and before I knew it, it had already been about 5 hours. I decided it was time to close up shop. But I ran into a problem. When I tried to remove myself from the Pringles can, it would not budge. It had become swollen to the size of the can due to overuse. Now I have had this happen before, so I wasn't too worried. The only problem was when I stood up, I passed out and hit my head on the counter and bled to death. So much blood had rushed to my wee-wee that I lost circulation. This leads me to Appu's life lesson number 487. If you are going to do the old Pringles can trick, be sure to use it sparingly, or you could end up like me. Always learn from Appu's mistakes and stay safe out there, folks. I filled my students' water bottles with vodka. Prepping for an epic cocktail evening at home, I'd made a divine concoction. Vodka infused with mint, cucumber, and lemon zest. Meanwhile at school, my students left a sea of identical water bottles after a particularly wild chemistry experiment. With my ever-helpful nature, I reached for what I believed was my newly bought water canister. It turned out, it was my vodka mixture from home. Without realizing, I began refilling the students' bottles. Just as I was patting myself on the back for my good deed, the first sip reactions began. Tim said, "This water's got a kick." Jenny asked, "Are we having a party in class today?" And Tom? He just danced. Panicking but chuckling, I quickly retrieved the bottles and clarified the mix-up. Thankfully, my students found it amusing. From that day, I became the legend, not just for my chemistry skills, but for my unintended cocktail hour in the classroom. This leads me to Appu's life lesson 720. Always check before filling up children's water bottles with liquids. I was watching anime girls on my VR headset and got hit by a car. Hey folks, I am Appu. I have always been enamored by the latest gadgets, and this time it was the state-of-the-art VR headset. I had heard it promised a world more real than reality itself. So, one evening, feeling mischievous, I decided to explore the, let's say, naughtier alleys of this virtual universe. So I scrolled on over to my favorite website that I will leave unsaid. As I bumped into furniture, which in my virtual world were anime melons, I felt more alive than ever. The avatars were impressively realistic, and the settings, simply breathtaking. However, in my enthusiasm, I failed to notice my actual journey from the living room to the street outside. As I wandered outside, I took off my headset to see my wife's yoga instructor, Tyrone, coming full speed at me in his massive truck, which sadly led to my demise. And that leads me to Appu's life lesson number 524. When you are on the naughty side of the metaverse, be sure to check your surroundings before getting hit by a car.